Nick, it's a real pleasure to have you on the All Things Business podcast. Why are we sitting at Wellingborough School and what are you doing here today?
Well, Wellingborough School, fine school, asked me to come back and sort of judge an apprentice-style competition among some of the pupils. It's a while ago that I was on The Apprentice, but it's an enduring love of mine, really, to see young people working together to produce something of value and make a profit on it. So here I am, there are 5 teams, and this morning, only a few hours ago, which is the extraordinary thing, they were told that they were going to have to come up with an original board game aimed at a market comprising 8 to 12-year-olds. Right? You would be amazed at what they've achieved in that short time, mainly because, I suppose, within the team, they delegated. There's a boss, the MD, and he delegated for the design and the name and the layout and the presentation and the script and all the rest of it. I'm staggered at what they've done, actually, and I'm delighted to be here, and I hope at the judging I'll make some sense.
So in that case, is your role to be an interrogator, an ally? Are you to be some kind of a dragon, or are you in fact Alan Sugar incarnate?
I'll never be Alan Sugar incarnate, God forbid. But no, I think I'm here to admire when it's appropriate, not to be unkind, because they've had almost no time to do it, and what they've achieved in the time that they have had has been really quite remarkable. And also to assess how they work together and, you know, how they delegate and the rest of it. But we're joined, of course, by the real brains. We've got Miss Liv, who teaches here, and we've also got a gentleman from the world's largest board game manufacturer, Hasbro, and that's Andrew. And he's really the expert. I'm here just to sort of, chuck in the odd comment, really.
Nobody is taken in by that, Nick. Everybody knows you're hiding your light under a bushel right now. Thinking about your apprentice experiences, it sounds as though the spirit of entrepreneurship starts very much at places like this. How important, in your opinion, is the grounding of a good education which tells you about the real world, tells you about money, to go out onto the business world and actually make your way?
You are spot on. Do you know, it's not all about the Greek and Latin and all the rest of it. It's really knowing and understanding how the world works. And, when little Johnny says to his dad, I really want a pair of Nike trainers for £150, and dad's been laid off, that little Johnny has got to understand that the family has got to work for a budget too. So it's understanding that sort of thing that's so important. Also, the Britain of large employers has sort of gone. All right, the NHS employs, 150,000 people, what it is, exceptional. British Steel, British Railways, they've all gone. Ford Motor Company, And therefore, there's an absolute imperative for people to be able to exercise their entrepreneurship and ingenuity, maybe in starting their own company. A bit tough to ask an 18-year-old to go and start his own company. But we will become a country of small businesses and the service industries like the banks, which are big employers too, I guess. So I think it's vital, first of all, that young children understand the economics of the family, and secondly, to be tested. And I first got involved with schools and enterprise with the Enterprise for Schools initiative, which I thought was fantastic. And what you're doing and what Wellingborough School is doing is an extension of that, and I think it's brilliant.
You came to national note through The Apprentice, through the invitation of Alan Sugar, Sir Alan Sugar, but you knew him long before you got in front of the cameras. You knew him through collaboration because your public relations business worked extensively with his business. Was that the Amstrad days?
It was. I remember I got a call back in 83, all those years ago. Gosh, nearly 40 years ago. And I was invited up to meet the Amstrad Brigade, who had floated just 3 years before, made Alan Sugar a multi-millionaire by the age of 30. I was taken on and worked for him and his companies, which included things like Tottenham Hotspur and all the other. He had a Danish mobile phone manufacturer. He had this and that and all the other things, right up to my retirement, really, in 2004, at which time he turned around and said, "Oh, by the way, you've been retired a whole month now. You're back on board because we're going to do something called The Apprentice." But working with him, with Alan Sugar, was such a joy because it was so exciting. We didn't know what he was about to buy, to sell, to invent. Extraordinary. It was a whirlwind. And of course, he was hugely successful in the consumer electronics business.
You also didn't know what the apprentice contestants were going to come up with either.
No.
We're here perhaps looking at future entrepreneurs, future business managers, shapers of the economy for the future. You collaborated in business with Alan Sugar. That then went forward into a new relationship. You've also talked about the economy being based on small businesses. So how important is collaboration going to be as we hopefully trade out of recession reasonably soon, go out onto the world market, which is a bit rocky at the moment thanks to Brexit and the pandemic and so on? How important is that notion of collaboration going to be between small businesses who then have, well, frankly, some business clout out there?
Well, collaboration is a very difficult thing, particularly at the time when we're coming out of the pandemic. The Brexit thing now is beginning to bite, I think, if I read the runes accurately. Let's talk about collaboration. I'm starting a business, let's say. I want a loan to go to the bank. That's tricky. But I think that the government can press the banks into being more loose-limbed about lending money to worthwhile business ideas and so forth. I think we do live in difficult times. Anybody who starts a business, basically will be addressing the home market initially. You can't wake up on a Thursday morning and say, I think I'll start an airline business today, because it's not possible, is it? But let's say a young chap of 25 who loves motorbikes, he can start a business by repairing other people's motorbikes. It's that sort of thing, and that's where they grow out of. And that's where Sugar started, selling car aerials out of the back of a van.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that those people who've got a great idea have got a great handle on how to run a business. And you're talking about collaboration between businesses and the banks. Yeah. What about collaboration between government, the Treasury, the tax and the lawmakers to help business up? That kind of understanding of how to run a business so that the business lasts longer than 5 minutes.
Yes. Let's just look at the Treasury for the moment. And if there's one hero in my book, anyway, during the pandemic, from the very start, way back in March last year, it's the Treasury and it's Rishi Sunak. I think he paid a stormer. Yes, we're $3 trillion in debt, and that's going to be hard. We're going to be paying more tax. You bet we are. But he held the place together, I think. He really did. And full marks to him for that. Now, of course, everybody will hate him because it won't be long before he's raising taxes and making us squeak.
Do you see him as a future Prime Minister?
I do. I wish. Soon. Frankly, yes, I do. He's smart, he's eloquent, he seemed very thoughtful, and he was a banker. Now, let's all shout at bankers for a moment. They're not stupid. And I think he was with Goldman Sachs. I would rate him so highly because I think some of the others, excuse me for saying so, in our current government are not of the highest caliber. Can I put it like that?
You can put it however you wish. Okay. In this particular podcast, we're looking at human resources, we're looking at marketing as well through the eyes of businesses in this part of the world. You built a powerful business on the back of public relations.
Yeah.
That is often something that is cut alongside training budgets, advertising, marketing, particularly in a recession when money is tight. Is that a false economy for people who are now trading in recession right now? Should they be investing in those areas?
Yeah, it's the thing is, it's easy to cut. At a stroke of a pen, you can fire the PR company, you can fire the ad agency and the rest of it. But getting the word out, promoting to your market is vital. It's absolutely vital. Social media, powerful stuff. Where do you think all the money from advertising is going these days? Yeah, Google and the other, Facebook and the other big social media outlets. So no, it's imperative that promotion is kept going, because that directed at your market, is what will drive your business. Yes, you have to cut costs. We understand all that. We understand that times are hard. My view always, particularly with sort of owner-run businesses, that the owner has a duty to his employees. And when times go hard, and I've been through hard times in the past recessions, you cut your own salary before you start laying people off, right? Because that engenders in your workforce a feeling of loyalty that he's taking the hit, just like us.
Some learning lessons to be had for future employers and business directors in that case. Think about your people first, because they're the most important. They might be the most pricey, but the most important asset of your business.
Absolutely. Look at the situation at the moment. People are screaming out for employees in the hospitality industry, not least because they've all gone back to mainland Europe. And now what? I think that's extraordinary, terribly short-sighted.
You've just come to the end of one chapter of the Nick Hewer story with Countdown. Arguably, you've been watched by not only millions of people watching daytime television, but millions of students who may well become the future employers and entrepreneurs of the future. Yeah. Alan Sugar got in on your last episode. I believe he surprised everybody because he recorded something very personal to you, which got reported in the press just a few days ago.
He was in the States, actually. He was in Florida. And I guess the program makers, Countdown program makers, rang him up and said, look, Nick's retiring. Would you like to say a few words? Well, they couldn't shut him up. He's a dear fellow and very loyal and very kind to me. And actually, I suppose, following the sale of my business and retirement, he picked me up and dragged me, bullied me, beat me up to make me one of his advisors on the Apprentice. I didn't want to do it. I didn't think I'd be any good. I thought, Al, it's not for me. He said, no, you shut up and do as you're told. And of course, it gave me, 16 years of fun. Not only with The Apprentice, but with Countdown, but all the other stuff I've done, documentary presenting, and, it's been fun. I've been very blessed. Thanks, Alan.
I think the line was, Hewer, you're retired. You're sitting in front of me right now, Nick, in a business shirt, a tie, a business suit. You don't look even remotely like someone who's retired. What does the future hold for you? People are going to hope that you are going to carry on some kind of a mentorship role, perhaps? Is there going to be a book on the way? How to run business? How to run the economy, Rishi Sunak? What do you reckon? What's next for you?
I think running the economy, I'll leave to the experts. And I did write a little book, available for about 7p on Amazon. And listen, I might retire tomorrow evening because I was lured into a program called Tipping Point, and it's a celeb sort of thing for charity. And I thought, that sounds fun. And then this morning they said, oh, by the way, you're up against Robert Peston. Just what I've been praying for. So I think by tomorrow night I said, I've had enough.
I think your figures are going to be great for the future. You are about to go up in front of a series of future entrepreneurs. You've got to go and help them. You've got to go and judge them in a place that you know, because you've been to Wellingborough School before. Yeah. This has got to be a fantastic crucible for business in the future going forward, surely.
Yeah, absolutely right. Here at Wellingborough School, big school, 800 and something pupils, wonderful setting, high academic records. But entrepreneurship is almost in the gut as well. And there will be in this school today some future business leaders, because they can't help themselves. They simply can't help themselves. Maybe they're doing something naughty in the playground, selling chewing gum or something they shouldn't be doing, making a profit, adding to their home. That's how people like Richard Branson started. That's how Alan Sugar was taking pictures of parents and their new babies when he was about 14. He couldn't help himself.
Every day is a school day. Here we are at Wellingborough. Your future entrepreneurs are going to learn from you today. We've learned from you today. All the very best for the future. A real joy. Thank you, Nick.
No, thank you.